Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today is the day of the Capricorn full moon. It's happening at 8 degrees. And we also had Mercury retrograde happen. So that happened at 26 degrees Cancer. You could have had some exes coming back into the picture for a round two. But remember, when Mercury goes retrograde, what it's doing is it's taking what happened out there, bringing it in, making sense of it, because you're going to process the shadows, okay? And so that's why, shadow reading, is good. It definitely helps to sort out where maybe we're looping, okay? So keep that in mind, guys. When you loop, you're never going to catch it if you don't understand shadows. You know what I mean? Like, shadows are not as easy as, oh yeah, this guy cheated on me, and so I'm never going to date guys who have girls as friends. Those are tactics, okay? To say, I'm keeping an eye on this guy. If he has any girlfriend, he's going to be a cheater. Okay, and it's like, well, no, it's not that easy. It's like, well, first of all, why did you even attract a guy that has girls as friends? You know what I mean? It's like, this is where I believe we don't recognize it, but our shadows are attracting for us, repeat cycles. And we just keep using Black Moon Lilith to come up with more and more tactics. And so the next people who come, we have better prepared weaponry for what is just going to happen anyways. And we're going to keep attracting smarter and smarter cheaters rather than actually getting to the root of why am I attracting them. So something occurred to me, you guys, and I read it too. If you could go back in my videos to the Capricorn full moon reading, I mentioned something about masculine, feminine energy, creating who you are, and creating an attraction. And that's why if you don't create an attraction, you end up using your trauma bond, okay? So you go back to my Capricorn full moon reading if you want to hear more about that. Right now we're going to uncover the shadow around the full moon in Capricorn that's trying to be revealed. A lot of people are overdosing around me. I've noticed that even me, like recently, just yesterday, I only had 3 beers. But it really, like, made me feel drunker than normal. And I was like, I don't need no more. I don't even want any more. So there's an amplification here around, our routines and things we think we find fun. But really, we don't realize it, but we're using it as an escape. We're going to be feeling that. And I just heard that yesterday after I left, a young guy showed up in his 30s. And he was drinking vodka. And he didn't even drink a whole bottle, just half. And he ended up knocking out, but not waking up. And so the ambulance came and literally had to wake him up the hard way. But it was just interesting that that's happening right now. A lot of people are trying to avoid those feelings, anything that's just coming up. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the shadow reading for Capricorn. So just watch out for overdose, okay guys? What I mean by that is, if you're doing something because you don't want to feel a feeling, talk to Holy Spirit. Process that emotion. Okay, so let's do this reading. the shadow around your Venus, the fear that keeps it going. And then this is the harsh truth here. This is going to be the practical application, and let's do the relationship to self that needs healing, okay? So let's do, okay, good. All right, so Venus, the moon, Neptune, shadow that could have occurred. Now, when I'm flipping these cards, I'm going to flip them this way. This is the Eight of Wands, and I guess usually it won't matter because the way I, shuffle could end up backwards anyways. Eight of Wands, guys. Eight of Wands. Now, notice all the lights, external lights he's got. He's a transformed nature animal. So, the Eight of Wands, this is where your relationship to your Venus, if there is a external fear that was like rejection, if rejection happened to you as a kid and you get abandoned, excluded, okay, you could have taken the alternative route and said, instead of listening to who I am, which is causing everybody to leave me, okay, I'm going to not listen to who I am, and I'm going to become who they want to be around. But this requires external spirit help, because in order to become who they would like, you have to become like hypervigilant. You have to say, I gotta see when their facial expression shows some kind of disgust so that I could take action and not be myself, right? So this is where all these external spirits are helping you. Okay, they're shining a light, and there's even a bird in the background. But you're completely transformed though, and you're transformed in nature, meaning you're no longer going with your body. Instead, you're going with some external go light. You know what I mean? So a good example of this, guys, for me came up today when, in my dream. I had a dream last night that me and my mom, I was leaving my room, and I had all kinds of posters on the wall. It looked like one of those 80s rooms. And as I was leaving and following my mom, I said to myself, well, I need to change this because it's not adult looking. Okay? And my mom takes me to my daughter's room, but my daughter's not there, and her room is decorated with heavy metal band posters, but they're bigger than mine, and they covered the entire wall like a mural, right? And she asks me, she says, do you want this room instead? And instead of feeling the feeling I felt looking at that room, I was astonished, right? I was surprised, right? But surprised is a shadow. So being in that room, I was like, wow, I'm surprised that this is so awesome. I'm astonished at it, right? But then when my mom said, do you want this room? I jumped out and said, no, this is my daughter's room. I don't want to take her room from her. So I'm going to say no, even though inside I was in awe of the room. I was like, that's awesome. I would love this room. But it's my daughter's. Okay, but my daughter was not there in the dream, right? So my mom, she goes, okay. And she goes, I'll take the room, right? And when I heard her say, I'll take the room, something in me got stirred and said, wait a minute. I just said no because I'm trying to save an external person from disappointment. And now I'm feeling disappointed because you're taking it. But I'm also angry because I'm like, how dare you take my daughter's room? Okay, so do you see this twist? This is what is, I believe, okay, a complete transformation of you and nature. The reason being is because when in my dream we go from my room to my daughter's room, but my daughter's not there. So I don't know where she really is. I don't know if she's already moved out and moved on. But in that dream, in that now moment, my mom says, do you want this room? The fact that my Mercury mind wanted to jump out and please an external person that isn't even in the room, that isn't even there, but it's because I think I know what would make them happy. Therefore, I'm going to self-sacrifice what I am offered in order to keep that person happy because I don't want to hurt them. But meanwhile, when my mom said, okay, well, I'll take it, I get upset because I'm like, I want to control the energetics. Okay, but I'm not. You can't. Okay, and you can't be rude and say, but this is my daughter's room. You can't have it because she's not even there. So this is the illusion that the spirit puts you under by thinking for other people. Okay, so I think this shadow right here is the shadow of out of control, stressed. Okay, guys, stressed. When you feel out of control, there's two ways to feel out of control. One is chaos, when everything's chaos. Okay, you there's no control because it's out there. It's Aquarius territory. It's out there. Chaos, okay? The only thing you can control is yourself. And the other way to be out of control, the second way, is the way I just said, is you getting out of your body to think for another person, thinking that you're just being nice and being the fairest by wanting something good for an external spirit that isn't even there. So you self-sacrifice. Okay, and this is coming up during the Capricorn full moon, is where we self-sacrifice our feelings for what we think another person might feel or want. We're not allowing for it to actually just show up in the now moment. We're jumping out and saying, I'm psychic. I know that this person is feeling sad or angry if I do this. And it's like, no, we have to stop doing that. We have to stop thinking. This is where Mercury comes in. Stop thinking what other people are feeling and allow them to say it to us. Should their feelings hurt us or make us feel bad, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it and say, oh, wow, I'm sorry. I didn't know you still wanted this room. You weren't here. In the now moment, I chose to take it. You see, we can't be responsible for other people. Okay, and the now moment presents itself. You have to act from what you feel. Okay, so that's that shadow that is coming up right now. The Eight of Wands, wanting to go out and use your Venus gift for external spirit connection. You can't. You got to connect from the body. The only way to connect from the body is going to be Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, then Capricorn. And that's why Capricorn is trying to bring it to light, where we are trying to feel for other people rather than ourselves. And we're making choices based off of what we can do to calm them or make them happy because we think them being happy is going to make us happy. It doesn't work that way. That's backwards. Venus is over there like, do you see me anywhere? I'm nowhere to be found in this picture. But you go back to that moon. Go back to that moon. Feel your true feelings. and go back to what you really want. Okay, what keeps this going, guys, is the sun. And now the sun came up upside down, which means, so the fear, the sun being upside down means an external person's light. The fear that keeps you staying out of your body and self-sacrificing your Venus all the time is worrying about how other people are gonna feel, and especially about you. Are they gonna leave me because I said the truth? Are they gonna hate me or cheat on me because I don't want to have sex? Right? So what's keeping you transformed and trying to guess and do things so that it works in your favor is the fear of what they're going to do. Okay, but the key point here, guys, the sun, your truth is necessary in order to attract someone of a similar nature. If you're not even honest, you're going to be attracting trauma bonds rather than your truth. And so the harsh truth here is the world. This is so funny because I talked about a movie in my Capricorn reading, guys, and it was Pretty in Pink. And I talked about how, the movie Pretty in Pink, there's a scene where the main characters, Molly Ringwald and Andrew McCarthy, are having a conversation, getting to know each other. So there's your attraction energy. They're getting to know each other. And in the background, she's sitting there, ringing him up, whatever. And in the background is a woman, her friend, and she's on the phone with her ex-boyfriend now, I guess. And she's having a conversation, and you hear her, and she goes, "Sticks and stones, Tyrone, and bondage has no room in my life." And then she's like, "Since when?" She's like, "Since I spent the night tied up in the backseat of your car." I love that scene. But that's the thing. You notice how her head is not tied to her body. She's guarding her heart. She's covered up in black, so external protection. She's in the play, but she's out of this world because there's planets all around her. So it's almost like she's so totally disconnected that she doesn't even know who she is, and she keeps attracting trauma rather than a true love, which is what she seeks. Okay, and so that's what our Venus seeks, is to attract who we are, so we can co-create and make legacies, right? So the practical application here, it came upside down, the Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups, okay, guys, because it's upside down, once again, external poison, okay, that we drank, that keeps us in survival mode. So the practical application is find out where you got poisoned through rejection, okay, because Ace of Cups, Ace reminds me of your I am energy. So when you were trying to be true with who you are, it got rejected. So you said, uh-oh, if I'm being rejected, I need to please them. What can I do to please them? I'm going to go ahead and transform to whatever is going to please them. But this is the practical application that needs healing, is to recognize where you were rejected. Okay, because rejection is a shadow. When someone rejects you, it's because they're jealous, because they don't think they're allowed to be who they are either. So when they see you being happy and joyful, it triggers them to say, I couldn't be me, why should you? And on top of it, they don't know how to go back. They don't know that Holy Spirit, when you go back to Holy Spirit and process your fear, why were you rejected by your parents? It's going to be deep. When you start processing the feelings around that, you're going to realize that who you were wasn't wrong. They just rejected it because they were superiority, and their family rejected them too. So now it's a curse, a generational curse. So the practical application is to go back to the truth of who you are, remove the shadows around being real, being in your body, feeling at home in your body. And the relationship that needs healing is the Six of Wands. Now, this is interesting because the Six of Wands, this is where Virgo territory uses like external magic. Okay, so the Six of Wands, this is the relationship you have to your third eye as protection, but you keep going out. You keep going out to external spirit for protection, for mechanisms, and it's keeping you on a pedestal because you're winning. You're winning. Even in relationships, okay? So in relationships to other people, you're like, ha, I blocked you because you are doing what I don't like. But little do you know, you attracted them, and you have to figure out what in you is attracting people. Okay? There's something, some shadow trapped in you that keeps attracting the reflection, and that's where Jupiter is going to come in. Jupiter is going to go into Leo after the Capricorn full moon takes place at 7:55 Eastern Standard Time, and then after that he's going to go into Leo. Jupiter will be reflecting where you are, through a light from a relationship. And it's going to reflect, and you're going to see it, you're going to feel it, and you're going to say, why am I attracting this? What do I need to fix and heal inside me so that the light changes, the reflection changes? Because remember, you're facing a mirror when you meet your partner. And if you don't like what you see, fix you. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people say, well, what if I fix me and my partner's still the same? They'll lose interest. If you start fixing you and you go back to that same partner, they might not like what they're seeing anymore because you're changing. And they'll either try to break you, but you'll catch it. You'll be like, whoa, no, I'm not putting up with that. And they'll start going away. They'll disappear because they can't break you anymore. But you're going to have that boundary. This is going to bring up a boundary that needs work, And so that's why when you go back to your Venus, your values, and you start seeing the shadows, and you start being you again, the minute they try to break that, you're going to say, no, I just am now building this up. If you can't support that, then we don't need to be together. Okay? And they'll just leave. There won't be a magnetic attraction anymore. So that's how to really cut people off. It's like you don't even need the court to put distance between you and another person. You just need to do you, and the magnetic attraction is not going to be there anymore. That's what energy is all about. That's why I learn with Holy Spirit. Every time I call on Holy Spirit, those people who are not tied to Holy Spirit can't be around me. The only way I can be around them and them me is if we drink. Because now these external spirits are capable of coming in, okay, and kind of dousing us out, okay, which is so interesting. Okay, but anyways, that's all I have for this Capricorn full moon shadow reveal. And I hope this helped. For those of you who haven't seen my Capricorn full moon reading, please go watch that. Definitely brings a lot of revelations forward. Okay, guys? So I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Ciao.